have to start again. Item number 5, an application for a certificate of appropriateness in the Borough of Manhattan, docket number 15-0425, block 1270, lot 34, 1 through 3 West 54th Street, also known as 690 to 694 Fifth Avenue, the University Club, an individual landmark, an Italian Renaissance-style clubhouse designed by McKim, Mead and White and built in 1897 to 99. The application is to construct a rooftop addition and railing, zone C5-3. This was heard December 17th, 2013, and January 14th, 2014.
Good morning, Commissioners. Emma Waterloo, President and staff. The item before you is for the University Club, an individual landmark at 133 West 54th Street. The building is located at the northwest corner of the intersection of Fifth Avenue and West 54th Street. It also has a special permit for transfer of development rights to another site pursuant of Section 7479 of the zoning resolution. The Commission last saw this proposal on January 14th, 2014, which is shown in the lower center of the slide. The proposal was to raise the northeast corner of the existing 1920s addition to increase the height of the existing squash court and to install a railing. That addition is right here. At that time, referencing the current proposal and previous approvals for additions, the Commissioners had concerns about the piecemeal approach to the proposal for the rooftop additions and questioned the need for the new squash court addition when the squash court had already been approved at the roof of the annex over here. Some of the Commissioners also expressed concern about the visibility of the proposed addition. The Commissioners voted to approve the proposed railing, but took no action on the addition. So the rooftop program has been restudied, and the applicant has come forward with a modified proposal which omits the squash court approved at the annex here, and enlarges the footprint of the 1920s addition by constructing an addition in an existing notch in the southwest corner of the 1920s addition shown here. The proposal to raise the roof of the existing doubles court in the northeast corner of the 1920s addition remains unchanged. Ward Dennis is here to further explain the proposal.
Okay, and we'll open the hearing, please, with a motion and a second without objection. Okay.
And also for the record, Commissioner Perlmutter is recused and has left the hearing room.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ward Dennis with Higgins Employees Guard. I'm here with John Dorman and Paul Leitner from the University Club and Michael Tribe from Peter DeSalti Architects and Lauren Hall from my office. As Emma said, we after the last hearing, we have gone back and we've looked very carefully at the whole program on the roof, studied a number of alternatives for how to address the programmatic needs of the club, which really relate to having a legal squash court, legal doubles court with a viewing gallery. Just to remind you, and I will take you through some of those exercises in a little bit of detail and take questions whenever you feel appropriate. Just to remind you, the club has originally built and designed by McKim, Mead and White in 1898. On the right is a 1960s photo, but it shows up at the very top here this squash court addition, which dates to 1929. The club has had a very active squash program since before World War I, and this addition, which you see up here, came about in order to provide facilities for that program. The club had an annex addition in 1922. This pavilion up here was removed when they did the squash court addition. At the lower left is the program that was approved at a 2010 public hearing, which includes a new pavilion for Ladies Fitness Center and a new doubles court on top of the annex. After a lot of study and looking at this, it turns out that this squash court annex, this squash court at the annex can't be built because there's an easement with the Peninsula Hotel next door, so we can't encroach on that easement, so we can't get the width of the court that we need. We were still uncertain of that when we came here in December, so we were still showing this previously approved doubles court. After looking at the entire program at the roof at your urging, we are no longer doing the doubles court at the annex because we can't build it. We continue to show a 6-foot height increase for the doubles court that exists. And we are also now looking to fill in a little notch on the 1929 edition in order to expand the ladies' fitness program. The club's priorities very much lie with the squash court. As we have shown you before, the club has been spending a lot of time and money and effort restoring and rehabilitating its interiors and its exteriors. There are these wonderful McKim Mead and White interiors throughout the building, which very much play into what we can and can't do at the roof. The squash program has been a very vital program for many years. One of the big things that we're trying to do here is get a legal doubles court that provides a viewing gallery. And we have a very efficient setup at the 10th floor with a viewing gallery that serves both a singles court and a doubles court. So when we have tournaments, we can turn either way depending on what's showing. So the programmatic needs here again are to get a 24-foot high doubles court with a viewing gallery attached. You have seen this before, but just as a reminder, the existing court is 18'3" to the ceiling. New regulations require that it be 24-foot clear. The club has been grandfathered and allowed to host tournaments, but that grandfathering ends this year, so starting this year, they're no longer able to host finals, and in future years, they won't be able to host the earlier rounds as well.
Do you mean if it's not the higher?
If we can't figure out a way to get to a higher court, yes. This is a drawing the club prepared for one of its anniversaries just recently, but it really shows what we're dealing with in terms of the program in this building. We have these wonderful interiors that are packed through the building. We have athletic programs from the basement all the way up to the roof, services throughout, rooms for guests and the like. As you can see up here, this is where the doubles court is right now. As you can see here with these private dining rooms underneath, we can't drop down, we've looked at all the other places where we could shift this court on the roof, and we have come to the conclusion that we really can't do any of that. This is the ceiling on the private dining area directly below the doubles court, so this is what is stopping us from going down. It has been restored within the last 10 years as well. We've gone through a series of exercises to look at how we can accommodate this program, and I'm just going to walk you through them schematically. In purple is the doubles court. This is the existing plan. In blue are the singles courts, and we have 6 singles courts in the building. In orange is the ladies' fitness program, and the women's fitness program at the club has been expanding greatly over the years, so one of the things that we're looking to do is accommodate that growth. And then in red here is our viewing gallery, and as I said before, the viewing gallery, we can turn it this way for the singles court, or we can turn it this way for the doubles court. So one of the things when we move the doubles court, if we are looking at moving the doubles court, we need to move the viewing gallery with it. And each of these drawings shows in axon, in this case, the existing condition. The doubles court is in this area here. So this is what we presented at the last public meeting, which retained the 6 courts. It retained the ladies' fitness at the 11th floor, and it retained the previously approved doubles court with the gallery. And this little area right here, which extends out about 2 to 3 feet into this light court, is the easement issue that we're dealing with. So we can't build a court this wide up at that level. The pavilion here is what was approved in 2010. That has not been built, but we're proposing to retain that approval. Our current proposal, we have now eliminated the doubles court that was approved previously over at the annex, which reduces greatly visibility from 54th and 55th Street. We retained the doubles court here with the 6-foot bump up. As before, we're using a pitched roof so that we don't have to have railings, so we can keep everything as low as possible. And this little corner right here is what we're now proposing to fill in to expand the ladies' fitness program. And that came about as we looked at all the programmatic needs and where we're going to be expanding in the future. Having this little bit of additional area would be a very nice thing for the club in terms of its women's fitness. There to there. And we have some visibility studies later on.
Okay, keep going.
So this is the progress of what we presented previously at public hearings. There was a 2007 proposal which the commission did not approve to create a doubles court at the main roof that was highly visible from all over. That's one of the alternatives that we've obviously looked at. We've been looking at this since 2005, 2006. So I can go quickly through these, but we have come through a number of different options as to where we could locate a doubles court elsewhere at the roof in order to get the 24-foot clearance. We could put it over here on the annex, which would lose 2 doubles courts, or at least a net of 1 doubles court, and wouldn't give us any viewing gallery. So this is really not an option. Even lowered, we could eliminate the visibility by lowering it into the building, but still the doubles court would be here with no viewing gallery. We looked at putting it in the center of the building underneath where the approved pavilion is. That loses us 2 singles courts, or at least a net of 1, and it also does not give us a viewing gallery unless we eliminate this doubles court, in which case we have a viewing gallery that takes up a quarter of our 11th floor, 10th floor, which is really not efficient. Again, this viewing gallery, being able to serve double duty for singles and doubles, is a great benefit for us. We've also looked at other iterations that sort of shift this around, but we run into our elevator and stair cores that come up through the building, so we really don't have a lot of leeway to shift to the west. We've also looked at shifting this to the west, but there's a structural column line in here that limits how far we can go.
Just a quick question. Is the height of the singles courts different than the height of the doubles courts?
Yes.
It's lower.
Yes, doubles courts, regulation doubles courts are
24.
24, but the singles courts they're lower.
18.6.
18.6.
So the singles courts can fit under the old height of the box, not the doubles courts. Right, 'cause you're showing
Yes.
that singles courts alone.
Yes, so right now we have 2 singles courts here, and those are regulation.
Okay, keep going.
We've also, this is essentially the 2007 proposal. In order to get a viewing gallery, we could put the doubles court and the viewing gallery at the roof, but that creates a 26 to 28 foot tall structure on the roof that was presented in 2007 and not approved. And then the 2 iterations that look at this area over here on the annex, which we cannot build because of the easement. We originally met with staff in 2010 with a proposal. After talking with staff, we pushed this down into the building, which is why we wound up with a ladies' fitness program at the center roof.
Sorry, could you go back to the one where you had the doubles in the middle? I guess that's under the gallery 10th floor, that one.
Yeah.
Now, just help me understand why that doesn't work. You have the doubles there. Now, you say that the reason you can't do it is because you can't get a viewing place. Why couldn't you put the viewing there?
We could
and
put the viewing there.
And put a single at the end,
We
and
would,
then you'd
well, we
have
would
the same
lose,
condition.
no, we would lose 1 singles court.
Right.
Because we have 2 doubles, we have 2 singles courts
Right,
here.
you lose 1 singles court,
We
but you
would
get your
probably
doubles.
need to enlarge this footprint in order to accommodate a singles court here. If you took this size and tried to fit it over here, it wouldn't fit this way.
No, it'd have to fit the long
It
way.
would have to fit the long way, in which case we would get a viewing gallery on only part of the doubles court.
So you
And
have
we
the
would lose
viewing-
a singles court.
Why is
That's, I think,
why is the box shifted to the kind of center of the white area and not to one side or the other, thereby
This-
gaining you some space? Yeah. It's kind
Uh,
of floating in the middle of the white box.
yeah, but it doesn't really gain us anything, it just gives us a wider corridor.
Right, which is not wide enough to use as a viewing.
Right, and well, and it's also viewing the side of the court. You want the viewing gallery at the end wall of the court.
Forgive my.
So this is the end wall, this is that glass wall here of the court, and this is a glass wall of the singles court. So that's why we can turn this view, or really should be down here, but this viewing gallery can turn this way or turn this way, looking into the glass wall.
Okay, thanks.
So what is the final proposed one now? I'm trying to follow, because it's getting, there's
Okay.
so many options.
So this is where we have come to. The final proposal is we will not be building a doubles court on the annex that was previously approved. We can't build that, so we eliminate the visibility of that. We would like to fill in this little corner here for the ladies' fitness program. But the real, the number one priority and what we're asking for is to be able to raise this roof by 6 feet in order to get a 24-foot clear space in this doubles court, which will retain its viewing gallery this way and retain the viewing gallery in this corner.
So is the ladies' fitness, that little corner there,
Yep.
is that the 11th floor or the 12th floor?
Yes, that's at the 11th floor.
So that's, where is that on the?
It's right
Oh,
here.
it's that one, okay,
Yeah.
so we're kind of looking at it turned in a different direction.
Yeah.
than the answer. Okay, that's where I was getting confused with that. Perfect, thank you.
Can you,
Yeah.
can
Question?
you just show I guess the locations of where you can actually see, from which you can actually see the
Yes.
6 feet sticking out from the street, I guess, in photographs? Is it
Yes.
so it's from Fifth Avenue that you see it, right?
You see it from Fifth Avenue. You have the elevations in your
Yes.
package, so I won't go
Where
through them in
are-
detail, but this
Well-
is the addition on the squash court. This is a detail from Fifth Avenue. Again, this is the 6-foot section. This is where we're adding that ladies' fitness corner on 54th. And you can see the doubles court over here going away. So this map, which is in your packet, the areas in red are where we can see the squash court. The areas in green are where we can see the pavilion, which is previously approved. And the areas in blue are where we can see this little ladies' fitness center expansion. When you're standing at the corner of 54th and 5th, you do not see it. When you step back a little bit, that's when you start to see the squash court addition against the backdrop of the peninsula, and where you start to see the railing and infill of the ladies' fitness center, which is at this corner right here. Heading east on 54th Street, looking back towards 5th Avenue, you will see the squash court extension on top of the 1929 extension with the Peninsula Hotel in backdrop. And as you're standing directly across the street on 5th Avenue, you will see the squash court. We went through in some detail previously, but as you step closer to the curb, you don't see it. As you step back for about the back 2/3 of the sidewalk, you do see it. Looking north on 5th Avenue, you see it, but it is so far away. This is from 52nd Street. It is very far away, and you really need binoculars to see it. Likewise from 53rd Street. The building is in the background there. This view looking south on 5th Avenue, you will see it. This view has actually changed since we took this photograph in November, because the structure for the new building at the Donnell Library now rises up in this little gap here. So in most cases where you see that squash court, you're seeing it with the background of the rest of the tall buildings in the neighborhood. This is the view looking east on 54th Street from in front of the MoMA Garden, and that's that little build-out for the Ladies Fitness Center before and after. And from in front of the MoMA entrance, again, you will see this Ladies Fitness Center, but it starts to get lost in the busyness of what's happening on all the roofs in the area. And the last two slides, these are from our 2010 presentation. This shows what was approved previously for the doubles court, and that visibility will go away. And this shows the visibility of the pavilion, and the fitness center will actually infill that. And then the last one is the view from 55th Street. This is what was approved previously. This will not be built, so the existing condition will remain.
Okay, thank you, Ward. Further questions at this point? I think what we're seeing here is in a certain sense, much ado about a few feet, but for obvious reasons, those feet are critical. And I think also what we asked for last time has, to my judgment, been totally responded to, which is before we were to make a decision, even on those, quote unquote, even on those few feet, it was imperative to ensure that all other opportunities for meeting the same, not having to address that issue were considered and were workable or unworkable for the documented reasons that we've been shown. So I believe that the incremental addition is now, in my opinion, fully justified or fully appropriate in light of the exercise that you've taken us through, Ward, to show what has transpired. In fact, it's not to have the other court as part of the streetscape, I think is a helpful addition, but more importantly, it describes why that wouldn't have been adequate for purposes of replacing what you're now asking for in this application. So for all those reasons, and I'm proving the case of there is a lot to talk about and a lot to get our arms around for the 6 feet, and I think it's because of the importance of this building, and it's demonstrated that you are careful stewards and of it. And for all those reasons, and for the need that's a little bit outside the purview, I guess, technically, of the squash court, the reason you're doing it, I believe it is now, the case has been made without reservation from my point of view that it's an appropriate addition. Fred?
I concur. I think that extraordinary drawing, which I've never had seen before, it's like the greatest drawing I've ever seen of a building. I've got to keep it. It just is an indicator of the importance, architectural importance of this whole building and everything inside it as well. That's why these discussions go on and on about those few feet. But for me, it's not that you see it, it's what you see when you see it. Because most buildings have stuff on the roof. So, and this is a little more stuff on top of some stuff that's already been on the roof for a long, long time. So, and all of this is seen behind one of the greatest cornices in the city of New York, on one of the most prominent corners in the city of New York, a corner. So it's not just a cornice, it's a cornice that wraps. It's an extraordinary situation. So we're seeing a little more visibility on a building that has a cornice that really caps your perceived vision of this building and the understanding of this building as stopping at that line, with some more secondary, tertiary design kind of additions on the top of that. So for all those reasons, and the fact that you're always seeing this little addition on the addition against a backdrop of much taller buildings, makes it, to me, an easy, approvable situation for me.
Okay. Libby?
Yeah, I can support it on the basis of the things that my colleagues have said so far, but at the risk of sounding like your mother, that's it. I mean, we're done with rooftop changes on this building.
Well stated. Michael Devonshire.
I believe that this applicant has explored every possibility for applying this addition to the roof. The only thing that I would say as a counterpoint to it is this grotesque carbuncle on top of the building next door, which I don't know how that ever happened. In any case, the only other possibility I could see here is actually sinking the thing down into the dining room below, which would give you a 6-foot ceiling height, and would be absolute blasphemy. I am in approval of this addition.
Okay. Joan?
Yeah, for all the reasons that have been stated, I also can support it. I think that a great deal of work has gone into this, and a great deal of respect has been paid to this building. And rather than repeat everything that's been said, I can certainly support it.
I wish I could. I feel that, I understand the mitigating factors, I understand the exhaustive lengths to which the applicant has gone to prove that this is the only place, but here we have not just a landmark, not just an individual landmark, but perhaps one of the most important landmarks in this area and in the city. It's a real significant building of national importance, I think, and there's no question that the addition is visible, is quite visible. We've struggled over visibility of much smaller things on much less significant landmarks, and I just can't see how I could vote for it.
Okay, Chris?
The interiors is just palatial. This is just, and I think a lot of thought has been in the attempt to add to the top, and I agree that in the background, the background is suitable, it's fine.
Okay, thank you. Roberta?
I think that although I understand the need, and I understand, and I appreciate that the applicant did explore several different options, or many options, and maybe all, I don't know, but I just think that because of the importance of the building, and importance not only to the users, but to the city, where this building is an important item, that the visibility is too great, and so I can't.
Okay. I think there is the votes for the approval, which I will do. We'll close the hearing with a motion and a second. Without objection, certificate of appropriateness for 13 West 54th Street University Club, Italian Renaissance style clubhouse designed by McKim, Mead and White, built in 1897, rooftop addition. Recommend approval, finding that no significant architectural features of the building will be lost or damaged as a result of the work, that the building historically has featured a mix of rooftop additions and other accretions relating to its function as a club, including the existing 1920 squash court addition, which is proposed to be enlarged, that the expansion of the southwest corner of the 20s addition with an existing notch will not extend beyond the footprint or beyond the maximum height of the 1920s addition, that the northeastern corner of the 20s addition will not be increased in footprint and will only be raised in height the minimum amount necessary for the existing court to comply with regulations to allow the club to continue to participate in squash court tournaments as it has since the 20s, that both of the proposed expansions will not only be seen from limited vantage points, primarily in context with taller neighboring buildings, rooftop accretions, and a varied roofscape, thereby remaining subordinate architectural features, that the combined massing of the proposed expansions will create a uniform form at the roof of the building, and that the cumulative effect of the unified massing, harmonious composition of materials and finishes, and relative simplicity of design in relation to the high-style monumental facades will help the additions to remain secondary and will not overwhelm the building. The second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 2 opposed. It's approved. Thank you.